a repair for you.
Hello everybody, welcome to CMP, Canadian Maker Project. We're here at Hamilton Mini Maker Faire. This runs only for one day on August the 26th. So what we're going to do, we're going to go around, check out everything here at the Maker Faire, and show you guys what's available here. So let's go. Hi everybody, I'm here with Kyle from Ham, and what I found interesting were the model trains that you have here. Can you give a little information on what started you to go this route and how did these all happen?
I actually started with this small printer here, this very, very small, simple printer that I had no idea as to what I was going to do with it. It's just that I had to get involved with what this 3D printing stuff was all about. And you can see you can't print very much. It's only 4 inches by 4 inches. But once I got this machine here, I was hooked. And then I went on to pick up different printers, larger ones. And then it started, hey, I can really apply this to make these trains just the way I want, when I want, how I want.
Yeah, because it's just amazing. Now you were telling me about that some of these took you a couple of days or a couple hours to put together?
This one here is a sphere with all these small holes, which must take some kind of a real fancy design software. But I was able to pick this up on Thingiverse, and this probably took me well over 2 days to print. And of course the printer is small and slow, but over 2 days. And of course it gave me plenty of time to stick in the little Marvin the Martian in the center as it was building slowly the sphere.
Pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about this big train right here, because I was really impressed at how big it is and how well quality this is.
This was again a design that was already pre-done for me. It was available from Thingiverse, and it was originally designed to be at the G scale, the garden scale layout size, and I just stepped it up twice to be able to run on the tracks available here from the Golden Horseshoe live steamers. Their elevated track is 3.5 inches between the rails. So I just very simply scaled this fellow up and asked it to print. Now I had to slice it up into smaller sections because the train is 2 feet over long in length, and so I chopped it up into about 6-inch sections and printed each one. But each section again would take me at least 12 hours.
And what's your feel like with 3D printing? Do you feel like you've learned a lot from this field?
Oh yes, it's taken me into learning all kinds of different software. I've been to Mohawk, taking many different courses there in both CAD and 3D printing. And just this week I've started another software learning experience with Fusion 360, which is an AutoCAD program, and it's freely available on the internet. So I've started that one this week.
That seems to be the most preferred version for every maker out there.
Okay, because it's available online for free, I can well imagine.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and have fun at the Hamilton Maker Faire.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm here with Kyle from Cavey Designs, and I just noticed everything that you designed here is amazing. Can you tell me a little bit more about what got you into 3D printing and designing stuff?
Okay, well, I think it started mostly. I started doing Lego. I started playing with Connects when I was a little kid. And then I had to figure out what I wanted to do for a living. So I ended up doing engineering went to McMaster for mechanical and manufacturing. I ended up, that's when I first got some exposure to parametric modeling. And I pretty much fell in love with it. So I learned modeling before I learned printing. So I started doing printing or modeling professionally. My one workplace ended up getting a printer. I took a night class to just learn a bit more about it. And then I ended up getting one for myself, and I've kind of just been going from there.
And how do these designs come to you to design something like, say, a controller holder or something to hold your iPad? What inspires those type of designs?
A need, a personal need, where I'll be sitting there, I'll be at my computer looking up, and I'll see nothing in the corner, so I'll say, I could put something nice there. Or my iPad sits flat on the ground, and I go, I want to make that. And now, when the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Well, when one of the biggest tools you have is a 3D printer, everything looks like something that can be printed. So that's kind of, it's usually, I don't sit down and say, today I want to design something. It's more, I see something that I avoid, and I go, I'm going to design this to fill that void.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, for any type of design spectacle. And I noticed that you have also one of your fail prints. So what was this fail of?
Well, that was actually one of these suckers that I'm working on. I call it the Cyber Shelf or Cyberpunk Shelf. You can actually see it over back there, all lit up. And again, this was mostly in my house. I had a lot of bare walls, and I thought, I want to make something that looks nice. And when I was younger, I really liked Star Wars, so I think I got a little bit of some Star Wars inspiration from it. So this is what a good one looks like. The failed one, I'm not even sure exactly how it failed. I think it was a glitch in the program, because it wasn't something physical with the machine.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So if people want to find out more about, say, your designs, or wants to look on your web and try to find out more about you, what's the best way to find out more about you?
If you don't have a printer, I'm offering my objects on Etsy right now, like a printed. I've got a Thingiverse, or not a Thingiverse. I've got an Instagram page that I've just started. It's Cavey Design, and just like that, that's where haven't been doing it for too long, but I've just started kind of posting like projects that are ongoing. I'll do some screen captures of kind of what the sketches looks like, the design process. I've also just put some funny stuff that I find interesting during the work. So I'd say my Instagram page is one of the best ways if you just want to follow what I'm up to. If you're interested in buying something, it's either my Etsy page, and then I also just offer my files right now on Thingiverse. The things that I upload, they can be, if you've got a printer of your own, you go on Thingiverse and get them, print them for yourself and enjoy them.
Well, thank you for taking the time, and all the best to you at the fair.
Hey, thank you. Great talking with you. Thanks.
So I'm here with Nick here at the Hamilton Mini Maker Faire, and I must admit, this Supersonic Cannon. What came up the idea to build something like this?
So I first saw the world record holder for ping pong cannons. He actually has a ping pong ball that goes 800 meters a second. And when I first saw that, I thought, that's not possible. It's only a ping pong ball. After watching his cannon a couple times, I thought, well, it's possible. I can do that. It's just plumbing. So over the span of about 4 or 5 months, I slowly built up what we have here today. I'm not firing supersonic today because it's very loud, but my best balls have been higher than the speed of sound. I got Mach 1.3.
That's crazy. A ping pong ball traveling that fast. And the destructiveness of these balls.
Yeah, one of the really bizarre things I noticed the first time I started to shoot aluminum cans is the aluminum doesn't tear the way I'm used to seeing it tear. It doesn't leave a smooth edge. It shatters. It leaves a really jagged edge. So I'm actually getting to the limits of what aluminum cans can really stand up to.
Okay, and just to talk about this, so this is all vacuumed, is that correct?
Yeah, the whole pipe is vacuumed down with a vacuum pump. It's made for pumping out air conditioners. For what I'm doing, I don't need a very strong vacuum, not like the vacuum of space, but I want to get most of the air out of there because air gets in the way of accelerating the ball. The less air there is, the less there is to stop the ball from speeding up.
Okay, so how much pressure do you suck out of these out of the tube to get the pressure to fire that ball the speeds that you do?
So air pressure at ground level where we are is usually about 14 or 15 psi. I get down to about 1/10 of a pound per square inch on the inside, which is not a fantastic vacuum, but for what I'm doing, it's more than sufficient. The interesting thing is if you look at how many square inches of surface there are on that pipe, it means it's about 28,000 pounds of air pressure squeezing that pipe and trying to get back in.
And just out of curiosity, what would you say the diameter of this pipe is?
So the pipe that holds the ping pong ball is 1.5 inches, and then the end pipe that's larger, that's actually a 4-inch pipe. That's a vacuum reservoir. It's used to kind of scavenge any air that gets in the way of the ball. It gets pulled into this reservoir and gets it out of the way of the ball.
That is amazing. And I know you say you use Nylar, is it? Is that correct?
It's Mylar foil. Mylar is just a plastic polymer. It's like a chain, but it's a chain in 2 directions. It's very strong until you break one link, and then it's very weak.
Well, thank you so much for showing this off. I remember seeing it at another show, but just seeing what you've done now, adding a speed trap, using the Adreno, it's just amazing.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoy it. I've had lots of people come by. Everybody seems to love it, even though it's a little loud.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.